Driving new business with social media. My name is Lorraine and I own a company called Roundpeg. We are an authorized local expert for Constant Contact, and in addition to doing presentations like this, we also provide support for companies that are interested in using social media and email marketing. Why is social media important? Why do we put so much emphasis on companies getting involved in social media? And one of the best reasons, and we're going to talk about several others, but one of the best reasons is that social signals count. When people go looking for you, or for companies like you, what do they find? For example, if I meet someone at a networking event and they hop onto Google to do a little bit of research about me, this is what they're going to find. They're going to find our website, they're going to find my Twitter account, my LinkedIn account, they're going to find my personal blog, an article that I wrote for the Indy Star, as well as my Facebook profile. My social signals are going to dominate Google. Now, I'm going to let you in on a secret. I'm not the only person in the entire world named Lorraine Ball. But if you look at Twitter, you would think, if you look at Google, you would think that I was. And the same is true for Roundpeg. This is my company. And again, we are not the only company with this name. But if you look at the first page of Google, you would think that we were. We pretty much dominate, except for this one reference to roundpeg.com down here. So from a search perspective, social media helps you gain visibility when people go looking for you. But that's really only the tip of the iceberg. The other reason is that marketing has really changed. The funnel has kind of flipped. When I started doing marketing 30 years ago, it was about mass messaging. It was about talking to as many people as you possibly could and hoping that some of them would actually walk in your door. But things have changed. We've actually seen a flip on the funnel. And today, it's much more about connecting with the people who are coming in your door and leveraging those connections and those relationships to reach through referrals and networking and social mentions a wider and wider audience. Engagement is the new word of mouth, and it is both in social media and email marketing, because here's the thing. Social media, and don't get me wrong, I love social media, but it's a lot like going to a singles bar. You're going to meet a lot of nice people, but at the end of the day, your objective is to bring your date home. And home is your website, and home is your email newsletter, because this is where you can have that intimate one-to-one conversation. When people are on social media, they are talking to lots of people. There are lots of distractions. There are cat videos and baby pictures. But when your email lands in their inbox and they open it up for a limited period of time, and it may only be a few seconds, you have their undivided attention. And attention is power. And so as you're thinking about social media, think of that as that point of entry, that place where you're going to have those conversations, but you need to have that end game and be cognizant of how you're going to build your email list and stay in touch with those people. Impact of social media? Let's just take a look at a couple of different numbers. 78% of people say a company's social media posts influence their purchases. 73% say they're likely to buy from brands that respond on social media. And 84% of people interviewed say they use social media to show their support for a cause. If you're a not-for-profit association trying to build a community, this is where it's at, as you try to broaden your message and reach people who will ultimately donate to your cause. As a small business, you have an advantage because you have an authentic connection with your audience. Your customers know you. It's not like some giant national message. They know you, they know who you are, and they feel connected. So you can use social media to build and expand on those relationships, increase brand awareness, and grow your email list. Use your personal connection on Facebook or on Twitter. Use stories about your brand and your experiences that no one else can replicate as you try to build your fans. So today we're going to talk about picking a particular social media site that works for you, setting up your network, announcing your presence, creating a little bit of content, touch on social media advertising, and grow your list. Now, that's a pretty long agenda, and we have a pretty short period of time this morning. So we're going to hit the high points. We're not going to go into a lot of detail. We have other programs that really deep dive on some of these other topics. But let's get started. There are all sorts of social networking sites. Well, there are all sorts of social media sites. There are some that are really designed for networking, for really connecting with and talking to specific people. There are some that are really about just the images. And then there are some video sharing sites. And I'm going to say that Facebook actually is starting to definitely play in this arena as well with their Facebook Live. But these Facebook sites, and particularly YouTube, it's more about video for the long term. It's more about video that you go back to and go back to. The different sites on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, it's more about conversation, quick status updates, interactions, comments with each other. On photo sharing sites, there's less real conversation, but you can make a bigger impact if you have a visual brand, if you have a product that photographs well. These photo sharing sites are definitely worth exploring, and video is becoming more and more the everyman's tool, and I think the Facebook Live video is definitely moving people in that direction. Instagram video, people want to catch the in the moment. Couple of quick tips on Facebook and some things to consider. Really and truly, Facebook is kind of for everyone. B2B, B2C, nonprofits. We used to think of it much more as a B2C platform, much more for business to consumer interaction. But in our last study, we do an annual study of small business owners, and in our last study we saw that Facebook was now becoming the dominant platform for all small businesses, not just business to consumer. And at first we thought maybe it was a flaw in the data. But what we've seen since then is that even companies that are B2B companies are really getting involved in Facebook, and it has a lot to do with all of the tools, the advertising, the different picture options, the ability to segment and target your audience based on interest is making Facebook very attractive across the board. What to post, photos, videos, links, it's called Facebook. It is about the faces, it's about people, it's about great pictures with a little bit of text and a fun comment. And how often as a business, this note I kind of disagree with. It says 1 time per day or week. I would say Monday to Friday, once a day is fine. As far as a maximum, if you're doing more than 10 posts a week, get a life. You're too active. You're overloading the system, and you're wasting good content. So be a little bit more selective if you find yourself sharing that much. And if you're really struggling to find things to write about, think about if you went to a backyard barbecue and we were chatting and I asked you what you did for a living. You wouldn't tell me about business, business, business. You might tell me about your employees. You might tell me about a funny story that happened with a customer. You might tell me about something that goes on in the office. That's what should go on your Facebook page, the slice of life behind the scenes stories. It has a huge benefit as far as being an advertising platform. Facebook has worked really hard to make this a much more sophisticated advertising platform. The tools are easy to use, and it is a very affordable place to go. Twitter is really about what's happening now. But Twitter is all day, every day. If you're not prepared to hop on Twitter several times a day, engage, share, interact, you're not necessarily going to find that you're getting as much benefit and as much bang for your buck as you would like. Industries that do well on Twitter, companies that deal in the what's happening now. News outlets are great on Twitter, and actually, even if you don't think you're going to share a lot on Twitter, using it as a news source and a news feed is a fascinating way to stay on top of what's happening around the world, around your community, and specifically in your industry. You can search for particular companies and create lists so that you can follow what's really going on in your industry. Again, photos, links, and videos. You can still do simple text updates in Twitter, though this is declining. And I'm going to tell you, it's kind of making me sad. I liked the very quick ability to scan the news feed and just read, and find what I was looking for. But as people are putting more photos in the timeline, you really have to compete. You really need to be thinking about images for Twitter as well. Something that's very popular on Twitter and really works nicely are the animated GIFs or animated GIFs, those little images that repeat over and over again. They're great because they fit very nicely within the rapid fire pattern of the medium where you're scrolling through very quickly looking for news. The challenge with Twitter is that you're limited to 140 characters. So you've got to be very succinct. You really have to think about what you're going to say. I often find that I type my tweet full length, look at my word count, and then start taking out unnecessary words. And the business benefit is that this is the fastest way to reach your audience. And so it's probably better if you are in a customer service business. Because of the all-day, everyday nature of the business, people are more likely to put up a complaint that they're not happy on Twitter than they are on Facebook, and you have an opportunity, particularly in restaurant and food service, airlines, banking, to respond. Now, I'm teaching an entire semester-long class on social CRM, both the ups and the downside of trying to handle customer issues on social media. And my overarching recommendation is acknowledge if someone is unhappy and then take the conversation offline. LinkedIn. This is a B2B platform. This is a wonderful place to establish your subject matter expertise as a company. This is a place where you can share white papers, study guides, videos, customer testimonials, stories about employees getting awards, promotions. But please, please, please keep the content to a very professional level. This is not the place to put motivational quotes. This is not the place to put funny photos and cute office pictures. That belongs on Facebook. Why does it matter? Because people who are serious about the platform will unfollow you if you don't seem to know what you should be doing on each platform. When people put silly games and puzzles and, hey, only 10% of people can get this right, can you? Do not answer them. Why? On Facebook, it just shows up as a comment. But on LinkedIn, if you comment, that status update now goes on your timeline, and it looks like you're sharing that puzzle. And again, you then slide into that category of uninformed amateurs that people who are serious about LinkedIn will look at you and go, yeah, they're not serious, I'm not going to follow them. The nice thing is that LinkedIn, you do not have to be as active as often. 3 times a week is plenty. This is really where you can connect with other professionals in your industry, in your community, whether you're looking for a job or looking for employees. It's really solid to have a good, strong network here. And if your business model is such that you are calling on larger companies, even if you're a small business, you want to be on LinkedIn making connections, because as you meet people, you will become connected to people who may be able to make that introduction for you. Pinterest. I think Pinterest is still struggling to find its place. If you are a visual brand, if you are an aspirational brand, travel agents, food, wedding services, fashion, beauty, Pinterest is an interesting place to stake out a claim. The challenge is that people follow topics. They do not follow, they may follow boards of other people, but it's really more about searching for particular images around particular topics. It becomes really important that you use keywords in your descriptions, that you link to content on your website. It does you no good to get a bunch of pins on Pinterest if people don't know where to go for more information. There is a really nice SEO link between the platform and your business. You need to be posting at least a few times a week, and hopping on and sharing multiple posts is usually not 25, because then you'll overwhelm people's news feeds, but 3 to 4 at a time, and really kind of get a couple of good posts in the timeline that cluster together around the same topic. Make sure you install the Pinterest pin this button in your website, so when someone rolls over an image, if they are a Pinterest user, they can grab the images from your website, and you should add it to your browser so that anytime you're on a website, you can add things to your Pinterest boards. Instagram. Instagram is really, it has really gone through a little bit of iteration since it's been bought by Facebook. But for the most part, it is still really where great photographers go to show off their picture. I'm kind of disappointed that this particular slide shows this sort of motivational quote, because that's really not typical of Instagram. Instagram is great pictures of where people are and what they're doing in the moment, and it is usually pictures with very little explanation. They need to be pictures that stand on their own. I may put on Facebook, when I'm traveling, 20 pictures from today, but I'm going to put my favorite one on Instagram. Food, art, travel, fashion, these are the kind of things people go to Instagram for. And how you find content on Instagram is all about the hashtag. When you put a post on Instagram, what you do is you tell Instagram, this picture is about something. pound flowers or pound spring flowers, and you really kind of need to dive in and figure out how you want to classify that image, how you want other people to get to see it. How often, they say 2 to 3 times a day, but I would say really space it out. If you are putting 3 photos up rapid succession, you may actually have the opposite effect where people will unfollow you. What kind of makes Instagram work is a little bit of that curating that you do where you say, I'm only going to share a few of my best photos. It really is great if you have a brand where, like Pinterest, visual inspiration works. The other thing is that the hashtags really allow you to get connected with other people who are very influential. We share a lot of food recipes for some of our clients on Instagram, and we follow other chefs and cooks and recipe developers, and we connect with them, and we like their content. Okay, when you're setting up your network, you really need to think about both your header images and your avatar. And one of the biggest mistakes that I think people make is they think that they're looking at it on their full screen. They think that they can put all of this text here in the avatar. You can't. Why? Because when I'm actually in the timeline, what I'm going to see is this tiny little box. Remember that this is what represents you when I'm on my phone and I'm looking at 5 or 6 tweets in a row. So definitely think about, for this avatar image, and it doesn't matter whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, something that is going to be clear and visible. Your cover image, that you can change. Change this with the season. Change this regularly. Don't waste a lot of time putting text here because, again, I'm not going to see it. Once I like you, I will never see that again. All I will see is the avatar. But when you change that image, the change will show up in the timeline. So it's okay to change it periodically. Think of it primarily as wallpaper, but then give me something here that is your avatar, that stays the same forever and stays the same from platform to platform. Tell people you're on social media. If you've just expanded and added a Facebook or a LinkedIn profile, let people know by letting them know on your website or in an email that you're playing there. Don't kind of walk into a room and then stand quietly. It's like going to a high school dance and standing in the corner looking at your shoes. Get out there. Let people know you're ready to dance. Let people know in your email. Ask them to follow you. Let them know why they should. If they're already getting your email, why should they also connect with you on social media? It's not just enough to say, hey, like us on Facebook. We offer daily tips on Facebook. We offer special discounts on Facebook. We share invitations to preview parties on Twitter. We run contests on Pinterest. Whatever it is, tell me why I should follow you. Definitely put it on your website. It doesn't need to be quite this ginormous. I think this is here to make a point. Putting social shares right here in the footer is the natural place, and it makes a lot of sense to have it right next to your newsletter sign up, where you're presenting all the different ways that people can stay in touch with you. I'm not sure that I agree with this. Again, they're like, well, connect your networks and let people know that if you're on Facebook, they should follow you on Twitter. No. Here's the thing. There are different communities. There are reasons that people participate on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. And how much content do you really have? And if you're going to put all the same information on all 3 platforms, I don't need to follow you on all of those sites. Put all of your social shares on your website. Let me pick the right platform. And then don't do an avatar like this because, again, look at how it appears in the timeline. It's too little. I don't know what it is. I would actually do just the umbrella instead. Seek out your existing and target audience. So look for your customers wherever you go and interact and engage with them. Number one, on Twitter, it's easier to do this, or Instagram, you can search for keywords and hashtags. Find people who are talking about those things and respond to them. Interact with them. People make the mistake of just putting up content and thinking, okay, I'm done. This gentleman here, whose name they've wiped out, he actually responded. He actually commented on Constant Contact's comment, and then they liked his reply. Social media is about ego. People share and comment because they want to be noticed. And when you take the time to comment, share, and interact back, you increase the chances that someone will then in turn share and comment on your content and continue the conversation. When you see a Twitter feed that's nothing but update, 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 and never a, hey, thanks for this, or here's a cool idea from someone else, or see them engaged in a conversation, if you never see that, it's boring. It is the conversations that make these platforms interesting. Follow like-minded organizations, whether it is on Facebook or Twitter or on LinkedIn. Look at what your competitors are doing and follow them. Look at what other companies who focus on your customers are doing and interact with them. If you're a wedding planner, you should be following every DJ, every photographer, every videographer, every caterer in your city. If you are an accountant and you focus on small businesses, you should be following the small business attorneys and the small business IT companies and the small marketing companies. Why? Because they are talking with and interacting with the same people that you want to talk and interact with. All right, let's talk a little bit about what makes content shareable. And it really kind of falls into these categories: useful, engaging, visual, and emotional. Under the category of useful, this can be white papers and articles and informative information, not necessarily something that is designed to make people buy, but something that they learn that helps them do what they want to do, that improves your standing as a subject matter expert, so when they are ready to buy, you're the natural choice. Engaging, questions, contests, things that really are designed to prompt people to interact. Question of the day, snap polls, quick things that people can do very quickly. Do not ask people to take a long survey from social media, but you can ask them to take a 1 or 2 question poll. Visual pictures have become more and more and more important as the internet and our access to the internet has improved, and as we're able to do things faster and faster online, pictures and videos are dominating, and people want to look and want to browse, and they will stop and look at them. And emotional, things that tug at our heartstrings. That's why pictures of babies and cats and cute baby animals do really well. If you can figure out a way to weave that into your story message, you have a chance to hold on to their attention for your next message. Images, links, and video. You see what's happening to the timeline, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. The images are now dominating. They're not these tiny little snaps with text next to them. And so as you're scrolling through the timeline, you're more likely to stop and pay attention when you see these big images. This is a really cool trick that they did right here. They took a great image and they superimposed their logo on top of it. And here's the thing. People think, oh my God, I don't have any fancy editing software. I can't do that. That's okay. Take the picture and put it in a PowerPoint slide. Lay a text box on top of it and save one image as a JPEG. When you do just that, you're good to go. You have an image that is perfectly sized that will look great on all of these platforms. When you're using video on social media, think short. 30, 60, 90 seconds. That's it. Longer than that, people get bored. If you want to do longer video, that really belongs on YouTube. And links, and more links. Remember, your objective is not just to build a community, but to connect your social community to your website. So, little message, beautiful picture, and a link. Little message, beautiful picture, link. On Instagram, links are less effective. Here it really is about the, and you can put them in, but it really is about the hashtags and getting you as part of the community. Instagram really is much more about being a part of the community. Facebook and Twitter, much more about driving traffic to your website. What kind of content? People love before and after pictures. They love these examples that they can go, wow, I could do that. We do this with recipes, ingredients, and the finished product. Construction projects, demolition projects, any kind of home remodeling or how-to. These are really powerful. Haircut, fashion makeovers, different dresses. When it comes to Instagram, it is about the keywords and hashtags. And you want to do a search. On Twitter, it's also nice to do hashtags, but that's not always how people will find you. On Instagram, it is. So people want to see pictures of dogs. Well, when you do pound dogs, you see how many different posts there are. And on the one hand, you're like, wow, I really want to be part of this great big community of dogs. But if you really want to stand out, just like in your marketing, sometimes if you have a picture that really hits a very specific niche, you're better off doing this, dogs are a girl's best friend, because you're only competing with 66,000 instead of 32 million posts. Experiment with giant hashtags and small ones and see which drive better results. I'm always much happier focusing on niche content that really hits a very, very targeted audience. So I typically look for smaller hashtags. I always look to make a bigger impression in a smaller community. There's a Dogs of Instagram. Dog love, dogs, dog lovers, dogs. And then you can see also as you're searching, here you see who else is talking about this. So if you're looking for other people, other subject matter experts, you can find them through the Instagram, through the hashtag. Share your content online. You know, one of the things I think is that people think of social media and their website and their email as different buckets. We don't have time. Let me go back. We don't have time for all the different buckets. So if you've got good content on your website, you can share it on social media and in email. And really this was showing you 3 different companies using different products, but the truth is the Davidson company should have a blog post, an email newsletter, and social media updates about this seminar. This company with all of this food should have this tequila sunrise recipe on their website, on social media, and promoted in their email. Don't let your content live or die in just one place. When you create an email, repurpose it. If you start with your email, so you've checked out our new menu items, share it on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. Every email newsletter that you create will have a unique URL. That's how email newsletters work. They actually reside as individual web pages. And so after you send your newsletter, go ahead and put a link to it on your website. Wait, why? I just sent it to my email list. Why am I putting it on social media? Because your email community and your social media community may not be the same people. There will be people who won't open your email that will see it on social media. And when they click through and they find the email, one of the things that you absolutely want to have in your email is a join our list. But people who are getting my email are already on my list. Well, they are, but the people that get to your email through social media aren't. This is a nice way to connect these two communities and cross-market. When you're sharing information on social media, it isn't just about you. It is about establishing your expertise, and that involves proving where do you get your information from. And so sharing other people's content helps drive that message that you're taking the time to research and learn about other people, and you're finding the best information to share with your community. Keep your target audience in mind. Share information on topics that are related to yours and complement yours. And little-known facts from credible sources. And make sure if you're sharing somebody else's content that you read the article all the way through. I can't tell you how many times I click on a link from someone that I know and I read the article and I get halfway through and I'm like, oh my goodness, I wonder if they read this, because this is not something that they would normally endorse. Don't get caught by the link bait trap of a great headline and something totally different in the article. And when you're sharing information from other people, add your own spin. Tell me why you thought this was interesting. Why should I read it? Content matters. And it is sort of like this pizza pie where 80% of what you're sharing needs to be valuable and interesting, but not necessarily sales-oriented. What you're looking to do is not really sell, because if you do just that, if all you're doing is selling, I am eventually going to tune out. If the majority of what you're sharing is really just general information, fun and entertaining, I'll hang with you, and then you will have earned the right to offer me the 20% promotional content. And Facebook actually really realizes this. When you are sharing a lot of information, when most of it is sort of fun and lighthearted, and you're getting lots of likes and shares, Facebook is more likely to share your content in the timeline. You're more likely to get more organic exposure. That's why if you follow Roundpeg on Facebook, there are always pictures of our cats, food we're eating, and outings we're taking. And in between, we'll share a little bit of our blog posts and other business-related content. We earn the right to promote our seminars by entertaining you first. Okay, advertising. Social media platforms that are free for users to use have to eventually develop revenue streams, and they have developed revenue streams through advertising. And they're making it harder and harder for businesses to reach their communities if they don't buy ads. So should you participate? The answer is absolutely. Because of a social ad, 25% of people surveyed will visit a location or a website, and 14 to 16% will actually purchase a product because they see a social ad. Your competitors are advertising. In our annual study of small businesses, we asked, have you tried online advertising? And you can see the difference from 2016 to 2017, who either have spent in the past or are currently spending. Where are they buying ads? It's Facebook. Facebook's advertising tool is incredibly easy to use and very inexpensive, and it is dominating. So how does it work? You pick a message, and for many of our clients, and this is really almost identical on Twitter and on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. They almost all work the same way. You pick a message. I really like starting with a post or a page that has done well. I define the audience. On Facebook, I can look at characteristics like location, age, interest. On LinkedIn, I can look at company size, number of employees, industries, and job titles. Think about who you want to see your audience and select those groups. And you can see on Facebook, you can get pretty detailed in your interests. You can set your budget and your duration, and this is really important. How much are you willing to spend and for how long? Always, always, always have an end date. I typically recommend, if you're just putting your toe in the water on social media advertising, that you start with a pretty small budget. Kind of get a sense of what works. And what I really like is once you've selected your budget, Facebook and LinkedIn will both show you how many people you can expect will see that ad during that time period. And then at the end of the day, you want to measure your results. I want to just talk briefly about this, the Constant Contact Facebook advertising bonus. One of the things that you can do with a Facebook ad is you can upload a custom list. So you can take your email list and you can upload it to Facebook. Facebook will look at the email addresses and identify the people it recognizes as people who have profiles on Facebook. And then you can clone that list. You can either advertise to people who are already on your list or advertise to people who look profile-wise like your list. This is incredibly valuable for companies in home services and retail locations. If you've got a list of people who have done business with you, odds are the people that look like them will be their friends and their neighbors who are also in your community. It's a very powerful way to reach a very well-targeted audience. Almost all the platforms have advertising options. I think LinkedIn is a lot more expensive than Facebook. I'm not a big fan of the Instagram or Snapchat ads. I think those users tend to hide the ads much more frequently because they come for the pictures. Okay, you want to grow your list. I started out by talking about the connection between email and social media. When you use the two tools together in sync, you end up with 73% more customer engagement, 57% more new customers, 39% more business referrals. So how do you do it? Add an email sign-up link to your profile. I wouldn't necessarily sacrifice the link to your website. I always think that's more important, but I might put this in a particular tweet. On Facebook, you actually can create a little bit of a email sign-up tab on your Facebook page, and I would do it. And then you can advertise that. You can add email sign-up link inside a post. So if you're doing a pin specifically about your newsletter or a pin specifically about something, an article in your newsletter, definitely add that to your post. On the other side, use your email metrics to make some decisions. Create a newsletter and add the Connect with Us links, and then look at your data and see, where did people go? Were they more interested in following you on Pinterest or Facebook? That may give you some clues as to where to begin spending your time. Okay, we covered a lot of information in a short period of time. And I guess what I really want to say is that this is something that you can do. This is something that any business owner can do. In the sidebar, be sure to grab a copy of the social media kit. If you have questions about where you go from here, deciding what platform you should be using, how to build out your profile, or how to get started posting, give me a buzz. We would love to help. You can really do this. Roundpeg and Constant Contact, we're here to help. The thing I really like about Constant Contact is so many of the tools that are built into this email toolkit allow me to create great content that's easy then to share on social media. I'm not reinventing the wheel every day. And if you have questions, I would love to hear from you. Thanks for joining. Watch your email for a follow-up note with a link to this program and all the other seminars and webinars from Roundpeg.